Hi, it's Kelly here again, and for this video I wanted to share with you some favors that we made for my daughter's wedding. It was in late May, and we knew that with it being an outside wedding that we wanted to have a favor for our guests, to keep as a kind of a remembrance and a welcoming invitation to enjoy the ceremony, and also to help keep them cool while sitting outside. So we just thought these would be perfect. What we did is we made, on one side we have it as a paper, a wedding type of paper, and then on the other side we just had a little, on hers we went ahead and welcomed everybody and kind of gave a order of events of the day. So we thought that was really nice, but you could put anything on the back, and actually you could, if you wanted to, you could print anything out on this side too, if you wanted to put maybe their names, date, even pictures. If you wanted to put pictures on there, that would be nice. You could decorate it with flowers or embellishments. So but we just kept them with, just the paper, and we just thought they turned out really pretty. So I wanted to show you. I'm going to let you know what I used to make these, and the process of how I made them. So bear with me. Okay, and with these fans, these paper fans, I'm going to show you the items that you'll need to make these. First of all, you're going to need some sticks for the handles, which these are like a thumb depressor. I think I got these at Hobby Lobby. They come in different, a couple different shapes, either straight on the side or kind of a curvy, which I like the curvy, but all I could find was the straight, so I got those. I like to use the double-sided tape for these fans. It holds them together really well, and I usually use like the 1/2 inch, but you can also use the 1/4 inch, but that's my preferred tape. Also, you can use the glue sticks. I have not used wet glue. I was afraid that it wouldn't make it as smooth, and it may make it a little lumpy on the sides, so I've never tried that. Then you're going to need your papers for your fan. You'll need, for, of course, one side that you might type up or print out a little something. What I did is I would type something on just a solid color piece of paper, usually in the color that they were using for their wedding. Like, for instance, at my daughter's, we wrote, "Welcome to the best day ever," and then the date, and then the order of the events that would be for the guests. And then on the other side, we would just use different pieces of a wedding pad. I was using 12 by 12 sheets. Of course, I have lots of scrap leftovers because for her wedding I made about 100 fans, and most of those were used. So what I use is a solid color sheet with something written on it, and then on the other side you could also print something on this sheet, or if you wanted to maybe put some pictures of them. There's a lot of different things you could do if you wanted to add embellishments or anything, but I just wanted it to be just a plain paper on one side, and then with something on it, and then a decorative paper on the other side. On the inside, I used some of my scrap, and I used the heavier paper because I wanted a little bit more stability for the fans. So what I wanted to use is like a thick piece of scrap. I used different colors in there because you could never see what color was in there, but I guess it just depends on the paper there you're using on the outside. But I was using some thick paper to put on the inside. So the first thing I did is I wanted to pick up my shape of my fan, and what I did is when I made my son's wedding, these for my son's wedding a couple of years ago, I just saved that shape on my Cricut design space, and so I already had that, but this is how I wanted to show you how I got to that. Let's go back here. If you go to your main page for your Cricut and go to your design space, okay, and then it's going to bring this up, and what you can click on New Project. That'll get you back to like a blank screen. Oops. Okay, and then after that, I went to over here to the left. I clicked on Images. Okay, and then after I got to here, I went to Categories. And then I scrolled down a little bit, and let's see, right here it's Flourishes and Shapes. So I clicked on that. Okay, and then they give you several different types of shapes. So I just started scrolling through, and I ended up finding, I think mine was way down here, but I looked through several of these, but they just give you tons and tons of different shapes. And after I picked I'm not even sure where there was, but after I finally decided on the shape I wanted to use, what I did is I clicked on it, and it took it over to my design space, and then I put it on there and decided what the size of it. And I ended up, the size that I ended up going with was, let's see, it was 7 inches tall, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches wide. So I thought that was, it's a perfect, see with my hand, it seemed like a perfect size for me. So I kept that, and I saved that into my favorites onto my Cricut design space. Then what I'm going to do is I take my first sheet and put it on my mat for my Cricut and make sure it's on there really good. And then come over here to my Cricut and load it. Okay. Oops. Bear with me, that didn't load. Let me get that back out and load it again. Okay. Okay. And then hit start. Okay, I'm going to take that out. When you take this off, which it still leaves me quite a bit of scraps, which I did use when I was making different things. I used the paper, so I did have lots of scraps. So it leaves me with this, which is my perfect cutout. Okay, then I wanted to do the same for the other side, and what I did is I laid my paper to make sure it was going to be in the right place. What I did is I laid the paper that was left over from my other, and I put it exactly where I wanted it to be, and then I laid my paper down. Okay. Then I removed my leftovers from that, and so this is, and then I straightened it up a little bit because I didn't want it to be crooked. Which I think I had worked this enough to where all I had to do was make sure it lined up with the edges. So once you get going, you pretty much can, you know where it's going to, your paper needs to lay. Okay, and then make sure that's down really good. And we're going to go back to the Cricut. And it's all ready to go again. Put it in and hit start. Alright, and then back it out. Okay, and then we're pretty much done with the Cricut for now. So then what you'll have left over here is your back side or front side, whichever. Okay, then we're done with Cricut. Okay, now let me set this down. Okay, now that I have all my pieces cut, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by adding on my piece that I cut out of my scraps for support. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this piece over, okay, and with this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and since I'll be adding some more tape, I'm going to go ahead and just use some, use my glue stick. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, and it doesn't even have to be anywhere, you just want to make sure it's not any place close to the edges. Okay, make sure that's down good and tight. Good. Okay, then what I'm going to do is my stick, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue just to hold that down for a minute. Well, okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to start putting some tape. Okay, so what I do, scissors. Okay, I'm just going to start taping down. I like to make sure to get as much of the edges as I can. So what I do is just start going around the edges as close as possible. And this really, actually, it looks like it's really time consuming, and I guess you could use glue. I just wanted to make sure that it was, you know, they laid really, really tight on top of each other without any bumps or waviness. So I did this, and it actually didn't take longer, you know, much longer than if you would have applied glue. I love using this tape, so I just go around the whole thing. Now this tape holds so well, and I get it from Hobby Lobby. Okay. Okay, but these, like I said, these fans were a great hit. Everybody loved them. And actually, the man that owns the venue where we had the wedding, he was almost ready to hire me. But I have a lot of things going right now, so I still have 2 more kids that aren't married yet out of 6. So I'm sure I'll be making some more of these fans if they get married in the summer. Okay. All right, now, then make sure these are all down really good so I can pull the outside of the tape off. Okay. Oops, that didn't get down. Well, there we go. Okay. I'm not used to this pick. Okay, got that one up. Oops. And you could either go ahead, it doesn't matter which way you go, you can either go ahead and put the stick on before you do this step or after. Either way, it's going to be the same thing. Whoops. Okay. It's taking almost as much time for me to do this as it did to actually put the tape down. Okay. We had a big rain here today and it cooled off really well, and it was just cold, so I actually put on long sleeves today, or this afternoon, after that rain here in Kentucky. Let's see. Seems to come up better when I do it. I don't know what I did with my other weed, my other pick. But I did a lot of this while I was, at nights while I was watching TV, I would sit there and do this, so it didn't seem like it was that big of a process. We had started planning her wedding a year and a half before she actually got married, so we had plenty of time. All right. One more piece. Whoops. Let me try this side. Okay, now, so at this point, it depends on your printed, your side that has if it has any type of a design or flowers on it. Say, for instance, like this one, I wanted to make sure I had it right side up. So, because when you put the printed side up, you wanted to make sure they both face the same way. So, but this one, it really wouldn't matter. But after I do this, I go ahead and I'll just go ahead and add a little bit more glue and make sure I put it where glue stick is. And then on this, what I did is I kind of used this point here and the ends of that point as a place for me to make sure I get it even. So I would just lay that down about halfway and have about half the stick out. Then what I would do, and you don't have to do this, but I go ahead and stick another piece on here. I tell you, sometimes I'm an overdoer, so anyways, but I'm sure you're getting the idea. Okay, let me get this off. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to do is just try to match this up as evenly as you can with the other side. So what did I usually started at the top and matched up that point, and then just kind of rocked it back and forth, and well, I'm still overlapped it. But even if you have a little bit, you could either cut this off or leave it, and then just press down, and there's your fan. So anyways, thank you for watching, and if you have any other questions, I will be happy to answer them. I'm so glad I got to show these because I really was wanting you to have this in case you were having a summer wedding, and maybe this will help you, give you an idea of maybe a little practical wedding favor, or even for any type of event that's going to be outside, but it would be nice for. So if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. Thank you. And subscribe if you haven't already, and you can press that little bell. It'll let you know when I'm put up a new video. I appreciate you, and thank you. Have a great rest of the day.